When I look around, and all of us here and our listeners see and hear some of these defund the police demands, with big city mayors suggesting extraordinary reductions in local law enforcement budgets, or in some cases, even the complete elimination of local police, I personally recoil, and I think all of us on this program do as well. Because when I hear that, to me, something not only smells, it stinks. When I see headlines such as one just appearing in the Wall Street Journal that says, Americans are more troubled by police actions in killing of George Floyd than by violence at protest, polls find, and then it goes on to say underneath of it, says that 80% of Americans feel our nation is spiraling out of control. This whole thing begins to get all mixed up. If it's spiraling out of control, why do we want then to eliminate or defund our police? It leads me to ask at such times, John, who's behind this draconian call for the defunding or total elimination of local police? I mean, could it be the gangs, the mob, the sex traffickers, the drug lords who, are they wielding so much power and influence? Who are the wolves? Who I like to put in this perspective, who are the wolves who want unfettered access to the sheepfold? Who are the foxes who want an open door to feed on the chickens? So let's start here. I want to go right to you, John, because from our previous programs with you and others, we've talked about information warfare tactics being waged against our nation. We've talked about nefarious enemies of freedom here and that they're engaged. Marxist, Islamist, globalist, establishment elites are in this mix. We've also talked about funders of turmoil like George Soros. Now even we find the Communist Chinese parties involved in propaganda here in our media. So all of that being put together, from your research and your experience, who now are the primary players in this particular current defund the police, save the wolf, slaughter the sheep initiative?
Well, first of all, as always, thank you for having me, and you couldn't have teed this up any better, and I appreciate that as well. Let me first say, before getting into the meat of the main question, that at the beginning you said, polls show that. And I want to remember these are the same Marxist communist leaders in the media who said Hillary Clinton was was leading 98% to 2% against Mr. Trump. That was not percentage of voters. That was the percent chance that she would win. And also had the polls, her crushing Donald Trump and all of that nonsense. Among other things that they lie about, the media lied about Benghazi. They lied about Russia collusion. They were absolutely complicit collaborators in that lie. They lied about George Floyd. They lied about why the riots are going on. They're still lying. They are liars. And I'm talking about traditional media, ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN. They're liars. And we need to just say it flat out. They lied about COVID. CBS was using fake news footage from Italy to say that this was a horrible situation in New York. The media reported that, things were catastrophic at Brooklyn Hospital. It was like a war zone. And of course, we had people go down there and actually film it. It was quiet as a park on a Sunday. So they're liars. So first of all, we need to start out with what you just said. This is information warfare. It's about controlling the message and the narratives. And there is a lot of misinformation intentionally put out to support hostile movements, counter states, the Islamic and the communist counter state here in the United States. So that's the first thing that has to go on the table to understand that they seek to control the narrative in this, right? The narrative that George Floyd is a reformed, church-going, great man. That is a crock of crap. That's a lie. It's a flat-out lie. He was a thug. He was a violent criminal, and he was on meth when they arrested him. So spare me. And I think we need to I just listened to a conversation this morning with good patriotic people spewing that same nonsense, their lies. So before I start blaming or from an intelligence standpoint, putting out who's behind the defund police, let's first identify some of the most dangerous players in putting forth narratives that directly support our enemies. How about the Secretary of Defense, Mr. Esper? How about General Mattis, Admiral Mullen, George W. Bush, Nikki Haley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who this morning, Admiral Milley, this morning overtly comes out against the President of the United States. This is sedition and treason at a time when the country is at war with identifiable enemies. And these people need to be held accounted. And so far, the president hasn't done it. And he is pretty much, in our estimation, is almost standing alone up there. He's got millions of people behind him, but he's not organizing. He's not actually rallying the troops to action. It's not the time to wave the flag and rah-rah. It's time to start crushing the enemies. The leaders of this defund police movement are communists and jihadis. They're Muslim Brotherhood organizations like the Islamic Circle of North America, the Islamic Society of North America. They're designated terrorist groups like Hamas, doing business as the Council on American Islamic Relations. They are leaders of communist organizations like Black Lives Matter and Antifa. And as this country has done in the past, we should round up the leaders and execute them for trying to revolt and overthrow the government. And if this doesn't happen soon, we will lose this. That's our assessment. How's that for brevity and clarity for you?